Is Cut Talk 100.4 FM Harare's Heartbeat. We are on the pulse, and it is hustle hard. We have George in the studio. Norma, that's also a very interesting topic. We want to talk about financial literacy. Yeah, that's it. George, I know but how then do we raise financially literate children? That's what we want to talk about. I think it's been a while since people talked. I remember growing up, we used to have my bank book. I don't know my bank book. First, it's my what pal paper. I mean, not PayPal. I mean, whatever. I have founders and everything. So, George, today we have a very interesting topic, and maybe you can start off by telling us what is financial literacy before we start talking about raising kids who are financially literate.
Right, holla, it's your boy George Billionaire, and a big shout out to the amazing ladies in the studio. Big shout out to all the pulsers who are always tuning in to this amazing station, which not only edifies your musical needs, but also gives you some amazing things to think about whilst you go on this journey called life. As always on this show, we're here to provoke, to inspire, to equip people, because people need to be transformed in their minds. Because everything begins in your mind. No matter what you want to do, it begins in your mind. If you can't see it in your mind, you'll never ever achieve it in your life. So we're here to change the way people think. People were raised in different ways. People grew up with different upbringings, but the mind is something that has the ability to be changed. And that's what our purpose on this show is, so that if we can change your mindset, I'm telling you that you can ultimately change your life, your financial status, your bank balance, and ultimately all that you want to be. And today's program is an amazing topic to talk about because I love the word of God. It says, train up a child in the way they should go. And I know many people who grew up of my generation and longer before did not get privileged to getting as much pocket money and as much all these other things like our children now get. You know, growing up, I remember it was a lunchbox, and it was a lunchbox, and that was that. But nowadays, children of today are given pocket money. They're able to buy what they want, and without teaching our children financial literacy, which is what we're going to do today, we'll see that the same thing that we fail to train up at a young age is going to affect them when they grow up. So financial literacy is being able to tell what exactly is the thing called money. And when we give our children money, they just think it's like water out of a tap. It's going to keep coming, and they don't understand what work is. They just know when you drop me off at school or when I go to school, and how much you earn, your children don't know. All they know is they want their school fees paid, they want a new this, that, and the other. So it's important at a young age to teach children about money. Money is just not something you get to consume. Money is something that you get, and it has the power to do whatever you want it to do. Now, because of upbringing, but we need to teach children at a young age to know what is important, what can wait, and what we can get later, rather than peer pressure to cause many children to now grow up without financial literacy. And the way financial literacy is taught is mainly by the lifestyle that the parents have. Now, if their parents are all just about buying things, no negotiations, the children will also follow suit by doing that. And, you know, it takes me back to many years back. My father used to teach us indirectly. We would go to Mbare Msika, unotenga maveji, mapotato, nezvakawanda. And what he would do there, he had a $10 note back in the day, and a bag of potatoes was $10. But he would be able to get that same bag of potatoes at $7 and saving $3 through his ability to negotiate and get it at a lower price. And that then at a young age taught us, okay, that's financial literacy taught to me at a young age, which even up until this day, There are many places I go, and any opportunity I can get to save some money, I definitely will. And no financial literacy yacho. So it's important as parents, the lifestyle we live, and the amazing thing about children that parents need to understand. Children do not listen to what you tell them, but they mirror what you do.
Sure.
And if you are a parent who goes wherever you go, you just pay cash, you have a lifestyle which is very absorbent, you are not sowing a good seed into your child for tomorrow, because they are not going to be able to understand what financial literacy is. And when they grow up, when they now face reality of going to work, unfortunately they won't be able to adapt their lifestyle, because all these years they were trained up the wrong way, and unfortunately now they are going astray because they don't have that financial literacy.
Oh, that's interesting. And no, now come to think of it, from what you just said, there's kind of it's kind of more like a paradox. No, not a paradox as such, but like catch 22 situation where you want to teach your child also the value of money. And also from a Christian perspective, when you say you negotiate, and the Pick and Pay, we don't negotiate prices. But when you go on the market there, you want to make sure it goes further down, doesn't it also impact on the children's view of how then you're supposed to get things?
Life is got so many dimensions in it. Of course, in a supermarket, definitely you can't be going to the till and saying chingwachwita dollar and it's 90 cents. You can't.
Yeah.
But there are many aspects in life which just teach you to be financially smart, because in any business there's an ability to negotiate or to get a discount depending on whatever purchase you are making. Of course, in other formal institutions you can't, but there's so many things up and about, and I'm sure anybody has had an opportunity to negotiate. You will never know you can get a discount until you ask, even if it's in a shop. If you're buying 10 items, certainly they can acknowledge and say, listen, okay, we'll give you a cash discount. Okay, we'll give you this. But all of that is all in the mindset of being financially literate, because he who does not ask will never know if they could get. And this is what it is. And I've seen so many of my mentors, so many millionaires and billionaires, when I'll tell you this, they negotiate. It's not that they can't afford it. It's being financially literate, because any dollar saved is a dollar earned. And if we get to understand that, that's financial literacy. The thing with our children of today, they want the latest phones. They pass their O levels, they think they're privileged to drive a certain car. And I like how other cultures do it. It's unfortunate, as Africans, we have spoiled our children so much. And you'll find out the father or mother grew up in the high density area. They became entrepreneurs, they became wealthy, right? They were now able then to afford a lot of things. But what they forgot to do was to teach their children the struggles that they went through, so that the children can learn the lesson. So unfortunately, the children were then spoiled. They never understood what financial literacy is. They grew up, they had their own children now. Their parents passed off, but because they lacked that understanding of how to get the money, that poverty cycle then comes back. And now those people are in a worse off situation because there was lack of that financial literacy brought down. Now in other cultures, I love how the Jews do it. I love how the Indians do it. I like how the people of other color do it. They train up children at a young age. Unfortunately, with Africans, we want to be seen to have arrived. But unfortunately, we don't then teach our children how to catch the fish. We keep giving them the fish. But Kanavazo Kura now. And there's so many people, I know there's so many people listening right now who, when their friends were rich and they were going to schools. I had friends who were very rich back in the day, and they were taken to schools with the latest cars. But unfortunately, because of lack of financial literacy, the parents spoiled the kids. At all levels, they were driving the latest cars. And if you look at those people now, because their parents now don't have that position at work anymore, or they don't have the money like they used to have before, it's very difficult for that child to adapt in the environment. And this is what then causes a lot of depression. Because now what's society going to say? Because I'm not driving this car, I don't have the latest this, that, and the other. But all of this can be curbed by doing what is hard now, which is teaching our kids that this is money. This is the value of money. You just don't get money and buy the latest this, that, and the other. And you train them up in a harsh way for preparation of tomorrow. And I tell you, this is what other cultures do. This is why they create what is called generational wealth. But as Africans, we don't have generational wealth because they become rich. They must see that we are now wealthy. But that is a serious recipe for disaster for the next generation, because you did not teach them how to make money or how to fish. All you did was to give them. And all they'll expect in years to come is just to receive.
Okay.
But with life, you're going to have to get to a place where you work and save and make money for yourself.
So, with that, now going back to our topic today, at what age then do you start training kids financial literacy? I've heard people talking about giving children chores and then giving them a little something. Though, of course, with our African, teaching, we are always taught that kids need to work without being given something. They should just know that when you are asked to do something, you should do it without a reward necessarily. So at what age then do you start teaching your kids financial literacy?
I would say,
and how would you actually do it?
So I'll say this from what I've understood from other cultures, then I'll go back to me.
Sure.
With other cultures, is it not so amazing how children who were raised up by a parent who is a farmer, during the school holidays, where do the children go? They go to the farm kumusha kunodzidzira kurima because ndo zvinoita baba. And vari kupurazi vari kumunda ikoko, what are they doing? They're understanding the dynamics of farming. So they are working. And it's so nice also to have children and you reward them for that which they would have done. It could be $20. It just incentivizes for somebody to be motivated to say, hey, holiday, I want to go to the farm. They're taught how to drive the tractor. They're taught, oh, this is a sprinkler. Oh, we planted this time. All of that deliberately is trying to create something that understand that no work, no pay. I've seen it with other cultures where they've got shops in town. You'll see the children behind the till, right? Young, they're told, punch, serve this customer. It's all training that they are doing. And of course, at the end of the month, they are rewarded. It may not be much, but to a child, $20, $50 is a lot of money.
Yeah, that's true.
But with our children now, on the other way, if you look at it, most of our kids are on holiday right now. They are playing on their PlayStation. They are utilizing the Wi-Fi. They barely go out to interact. And here you are a seasoned businessman and you have kids who you fail to even take to work 1 or 2 days to understand what it is you do. Now, what you're definitely creating is not generational wealth. The moment that father or mother who's running a business passes on, that child is going to be left in a huge void. And they're not going to be able to fend for themselves because we all know Msiangwa business. The father, mother know everything. The kids didn't even know where to go to get the product or anything because it was all Baba or Amai who was doing everything. So I think it's important at a young age. And, I'll go back to myself with what I do with my kids. During the school holidays, my kids come to Pro Air. They understand what we do. They understand, oh, this is car regassing. Oh, this is an aircon. My oldest son, George and Gugu, they actually go with some of the technicians to understand, oh, this is how you put an aircon. This is how. And they get to understand, oh, this is what we do. And at the end of the month, they get a little paycheck to incentivize them. And on that paycheck, what I deliberately do to them is that, listen, and they're now 16, my son is 13. We opened accounts for them. There are banks now which allow you to open accounts for younger children.
Oh.
So you give them money and you directly transfer it into the account. Because cash, the last thing you want is children. I put my money in my short. Auntie washed my short. I don't know where the money went. So you now deliberately tell them that, listen, this is your money. It's in the account. This is your card. You don't make any purchases without asking me. And now they have you know, whenever they go on tours or whatever, they do say, listen, I want to buy this, is it okay? So they start to save. You know, at our house, we've got, whatever money you get, we're a Christian family. You tithe a certain amount, you save a little amount, and this you are able to spend. So it's important to teach a child at a young age so that even when they now grow up and have a salary, they will also maintain those things that they grew up with. But unfortunately, if kids don't have that training at a young age, when the first salary comes in, I can only imagine what somebody who never had financial literacy. You get $500, $1,000, you spend it all. There's no budgeting, there's no planning. So there's no definite age to start. Even with my youngest daughters, whatever amount you give them, you tell them, we're going to church, remember, take this, go and put it in the offering basket. You train them young. Don't just be a parent who at church you take out a wrinkled dollar, give your child. They've got their own money, but they've got somewhere they keep it. You know, there are piggy banks back in the day where you used to fold money and put it in with coins. You need to be so, money without planning is definitely going to lead to unaccountability of where the money actually went. But if you know and you plan with your money and you train them at a young age what to do, they will never go wrong. You know, I have a dog at home called Coco, who's 2 years old. And Coco, from a young age, I used to teach sit, say hi, stay, at a young age. And now people are always in awe. How does your dog do all these things? But it began at a young age. I would get home, I'll give Coco a little biscuit, a little this, and Coco would respond according to what I taught Coco when Coco was still a little puppy. And it's the same thing with children. If you teach them when they are young, train up a child in the way they should go, and they will not depart from it. So it's important. There's no age called too young for you to be able to train children financial literacy. And I tell you, you will certainly love the reward of it later when they themselves know what to do with money when they have it, because they were trained and taught how to by a very responsible parent.
Oh, quite interesting. And you know, when you talked about Coco, we also have a dog that's by that name, a Maltese. And she's very naughty, by the way. But anyway, I'm just looking at it.
She needs training.
Well, she's trained, but she just has, our Maltese. It's part of their behavior traits. They've got this time when they feel like, no, we're not doing this. Can we just do things my way today?
And
just today.
And with dogs, just like human beings, when they are of a certain age, it's very difficult to now train them to say sit. Because they'll look at you and say, what do you want me to do?
Exactly.
All these years, you never taught me financial literacy. You never taught me what stay is. And that's the same thing with now. So if you start it at a young age, all other cultures have mastered this. And they've understood money is not to be consumed. Money is to be used
and multiplied. Oh, yeah.
But with us, most of us, you get money, the first and most immediate thing. I must buy myself food, I must buy hair, I must buy the latest phone, I must buy a new car. Once it's consumed, how else is that money coming back? You have to wait 30 days to get some more money to come in through your JOB, which unfortunately is not the best way. And I think I've said this before. The JOB income is not going to sustain you. And there are so many reports around the world of so many people losing their jobs due to AI and all of this. But as again I say, it's important. Let's train up our children to understand that the money you saved can potentially be used to go and get a product, sell it to other people, make some more money, or have some savings, a little on a little, and then you're able to get something that can then be able to pay you back.
Okay.
And I've seen it with my kids that as young as they are, they sell electronics to some of their friends, and they're now understanding, I get this for X amount, I put a markup and I made $10 profit. So when you train up children, and I think I've told this story about when I was in grade 6 and how my parents bought me a packet of freezers as my initial starting business that I started. And from that $10, I made 20, and then I went and I ordered 4 packets and who Glenora Wataikura, they think some freezers, and that was now income. And I became very financially independent at a young age.
How old
I was in grade 6.
Oh, wow.
So imagine at a young age, I was able to understand, good, no, ndakatenga imwe packet, I've got 10, I'll make 20. And then that financial literacy from a young age has helped me today to now be able to run a business, because I understand that it's important. And one of the key lessons I learned, don't give your friends a freeze on credit. Because it was hot, yes, they wanted, but now kuzotera, that following up of that money would then, and that lesson was great for me, because I then learned, even in business today, you don't go and install an aircon on credit, because though they are your best friend, getting your money back is going to be a challenge. So when you try and learn these things at a young age, they are very key and important business lessons that you will learn, and they will never depart you, because you were taught by very responsible parents who wanted the better for you, which is why I always salute my father and mother, because I was one of the only children at that age selling freezers. Others were still dependent on their parents. But what my parents did for me at a young age
to make you
has now made me the person I am, because I understood how money works. And I always wanted a lot of money. George billionaire, because I always wanted, because I saw, wait, money is good. I actually don't have to wait for my parents to get paid to make money. Let me in my community sell freezers. I know what am I washing pegs downtown when I'd come from town, and then I'd go and sell to the ladies in Glenora. I'd buy them for $2. I'll sell them for $4. And I would repeat the same thing. And I understood at a young age that money is there, but what you do with it, either it can be consumed or it can be multiplied. And that is all your personal decision, because all of us get money at one point in time. But what you do with it, due to your financial literacy or lack of thereof, will either lead you to become a consumer or a multiplier of money.
And people actually have this accession to say, and I'm looking at it. So maybe there's a way to it. Maybe if you can just share a tip as to, we've got parents who might have started late. They have kids who are now teenagers, who are probably approaching their youthful days now, 20s, 21s. Is it too late to teach them? If not, how then would you encourage them to start?
Yeah, I don't think it's ever too late to train up a child in the way they should go. There's never too late. Of course, there's a time where you have spoiled your children so much. They don't do their own bed. They don't do dishes. There's no form of responsibility at all in your children, because you have aunties at home. You now think your children instruct auntie like they are kings. It's unfortunate. But if we go back to tradition, Tsika Zedu, they teach you that you must be able to do something in order for you to get something. But unfortunately, with our kids, some parents have, because of success, and it's unfortunate, they don't see it now. But, some of those parents, you should ask yourself, if you're to drop down today and go, are your kids going to be self-sufficient? Or will they liquidate every single thing you own, the cars, the stands, just to maintain their current lifestyle? Because havana inwe source of income. So I think it's important from now on for parents to really sit down, to really get into you just don't give your children pocket money and say, oh, you're going to South Africa, here's $1,000. That was not worked for. That was not, they didn't do anything for it. But you must go back to basics. Say, no, we can't afford this. You can get this and live within those means. And nowadays with technology and money, you don't have to necessarily have physical money on you. Sure. Transfer money into their bank. It's also a good paper trail for your kids to also have some form of money going through the banking system, so that they actually understand that I might have wanted to buy this thing right now, but because I don't have cash or I don't have my card, they'll see, it wasn't actually a need. I can actually do without it and go home and make a sandwich instead of me just spending unnecessarily. So I don't think there's too much of a late stage, but I think also the mindset of parents needs to be changed, because parents are not or have not actually been very involved in their children's life of teaching them financial literacy. And this is a call to you, to all those very successful parents who are making a lot of money. Make sure that you are also instilling that culture of you must work hard for you to also arrive where I've arrived. It's not automatic that because you are my son or my daughter, this is your money. They also need to understand that you must work hard in order to have a better life.
All right, that's